All right. He's Gezus V.
He's Rems.
And this is Fit Sense.
All right. Let's open it up. So today we're doing something a little bit different. We are going to be covering a pretty heavy topic, right?
I want to say a heavy topic, literally.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be.
It's gonna be a good one.
Not to poke fun, but yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're talking about obesity, people.
Yeah, obesity.
We're talking about overweight. We're talking about eating too much.
Yeah.
We're talking about no exercise. We're talking about laying around. Yeah, it's definitely a touchy subject.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I didn't even want to talk about it. You can ask him.
That's a fact. It was a little bit of a fight, but I think it's a topic that needs to be discussed. I know that it's a huge problem in the United States.
It really is.
And honestly, it's more of a global thing. Because now if you go to like Saudi Arabia, there's like McDonald's, Burger King, everything's fast food.
Once these fast food chains like set up in other countries, you start seeing the number of people with weight issues go up.
Yeah.
Before, back in the days in these countries, like the only people that were big were like royalty because they had money to buy food. But now, being that these high-calorie foods are so cheap, you go to McDonald's, you can spend $10, you can feed a whole family.
That's a fact.
Right? With dollar burgers, that's like loaded with bad, just bad calories.
Yeah. So I think the first thing before we even like jump into this topic is to like try to differentiate obesity with being overweight, because there is a difference. Now, I studied with the National Academy of Sports Medicine, and they have a definition that specifically identifies overweight versus being obese. Now, obesity is the condition of being considerably overweight, and it refers to a person with a BMI or body mass index of 30 or greater. Or it could be someone who's at least 30 pounds over your doctor's recommended weight. Now, your body mass index basically just refers to how much you should weigh based on your height. So obviously, if you're 5 feet tall, you shouldn't be 300 pounds.
Yeah, definitely not.
That's
just right.
Versus someone who's maybe like 6'7".
Yeah, who could probably.
Yeah,
It wouldn't look so bad on them.
Yeah, so it refers to your height. Now, someone who's overweight, that's a body mass index of 25 to 29.9, or anyone who's between 25 and 30 pounds over the recommended weight.
Okay, so that's the difference. And not to bash on it, I don't, big is beautiful, right? But just like you were talking about earlier, it's almost like they're campaigning for you to be big.
Yeah.
Like the media, society. And why is that? Because that leads to heart stents, that leads to health issues, that leads to you going to the doctor, they're giving you medicines now, and you're going to, it's feeding this whole medicine, pharmaceutical industry, and I think that's where it's geared toward. We want you to eat, big is beautiful, and now you got to come see us at the doctor and here's some medicine for you.
Yeah,
right.
That's a huge problem, especially in our country. I don't have the actual statistics. But I know in terms of obesity rates and percentage, that is one thing that our country is already great at. So we don't have to improve in that particular area, because we definitely outshine, especially a lot of European countries that actually put in regulation to make sure that people's weight and health don't get out of control. And if they do, they have access to different resources to help them. You know?
U.S. allows certain chemicals in our food that they wouldn't outside of the U.S. Like, it's just like banned, right? But here in the U.S. it's accepted, it's put in our foods, we just don't even think about it. We'll say, oh, if they did take it out, the flavor would change. We are the goal, right? We're the goal for the advertisers, for the food companies, for the doctors. They want us to be unhealthy.
Another thing, I was watching another podcast, and one of the guests said this was a guy that suffered from depression, and he said one of the things that helped him on his path was cutting inflammatory foods.
Mm.
He said that
Inflammatory.
that inflammatory foods had a direct effect on his depression and his suicidal thoughts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you want to, there's definitely facts, people, that food can control how you think. And then you also got parasites, right? Everybody has parasites in their body. You got good parasites and then there's bad parasites. Do you have parasites that can control how you think and control how you eat? So, it's just awareness, people. Like G.I. Joe used to say, knowing is half the battle.
Yeah.
So
first fact?
How people perceive fat people. You might say, oh, they're so big and cuddly and they're funny, or like, there's comedians that when they lost weight, they were like, oh, you were funnier when you were fat, like.
That is true.
So, I mean.
Jonah Hill.
Yeah, once he lost the weight, it's like people were like, yo, you're not even funny no more. So it's like, damn. But at the end of the day, beyond the shell of it, it's the health matter, right? So, even if you're accepted as being big and, you look in the mirror, oh, I'm not beautiful, you're still beautiful. But at the end of the day, how healthy, the longevity of your life cycle, that's what, this discussion is truly about. So in our society right now, it's trending. Big is beautiful. They're putting big women on magazines. It's more of an acceptance at this point. Right?
Actually, for that particular topic, I'm glad that you brought that up because Joe Rogan covered that on his podcast, and there was like some controversy that they basically put a morbidly obese woman on the cover of the Cosmopolitan.
Right.
I understand trying to break barriers, because our society has a one-dimensional mind in terms of what sexy looks like.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when it comes to obesity and the diseases that are associated with obesity, that has nothing to do with whether or not you're sexy. It has to do whether or not you're gonna die and how long, in what matter of time.
Right.
Some people may be offended by this, some may not, but as a personal trainer, I would never condone behavior that would encourage someone to live an unhealthy lifestyle. I'm sorry. It goes against my nature, and I want people to be happy. Now, I'm not saying that people that are overweight can't be happy, but it's a fact that biologically you can live a happy and healthier lifestyle if you're not overweight or obese.
Yeah. And not for nothing, the other day, I was at my stepson's house.
Yeah.
He cooked up some Spam. I used to love Spam. Half Filipino and black. I love Spam, right?
Yeah.
He cut up the Spam. I haven't had Spam in like months. I want to say months. When I had that piece of Spam, so many bad things came to mind. I thought of heart attack, cholesterol, just so many bad things because the amount of salt that I tasted, I never really noticed before. And this is just to say that once you stop doing something, you don't miss it.
First fact I'm going to touch on in terms of obesity. So this is a real important one. Excessive body weight is associated with the bunch of health risks, including cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, osteoporosis, arthritis, some types of cancer, pregnancy complications, shortened life expectancy,
yep.
and decreased quality of life. Woo! That's a lot.
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 And this is just, everybody's different. So it's just like, we've been brainwashed since we were babies. We've been taking in animal products. We could go into the whole vegan thing, and it's just awareness. Like, you could be vegan. There's a whole bunch of different, diets out there. But I think at the end of the day, it's about what works for you and what do you think makes sense logistically, right? For long term of an average human, right? In cultures where they eat less, they only have a certain amount of foods, these cultures tend to live longer, right? Yeah. So less is more in the body, actually, when it comes to that, depending on what you're trying to do.
Yeah, the one fact that I know in terms of when people fast, it actually helps with insulin production to help actually
regulate.
Yeah. So it actually helps with your insulin, and it helps to burn the fat that you already have stored in our body. I think a lot of people forget that the carbohydrates that we take in, they're supposed to be used for energy.
Yeah.
But if you're constantly eating and taking in,
Right.
and you're not burning it, you're not using those carbs for energy.
It's still there.
And they're just sitting there. And then especially if you're not getting in at least I want to say 30 minutes of physical activity. Get at least on a daily basis.
At least walking.
Then,
walking to change your life, people.
Then yeah, that's all.
Right.
Getting stored.
It's just getting stored. It could be days where you could go without food. Like your body will last. How many days without food? Is it 14 days your body can go without food, but it can only go 3 or 4 days without water? Look it up.
So
that's
why we got the laptop.
that right there should tell you that you can do longer periods without food. So when you say, "Oh man, I'm hungry," that's just you trained your body to eat at certain times, so acids are going to go at that certain time, and you can actually slow it down by drinking some water. Okay, so the second fact here we have up is chronic diseases have become the leading cause of death and disability in the U.S., accounting for 70% of deaths in the country.
That's great.
Wow, that's
that might
crazy.
be more than car accidents.
That's just ridiculous.
To answer your question, the human body needs food and water to survive, but the human can go at least 3 weeks without food.
That's 21 days without food.
So yeah, that just goes to show you like how our body works. We can go 3 weeks without food, and that's us using all the fat stored for energy. You know.
A fact that I found out maybe a month or two ago was that during your fast or any time that you go long periods without food, the first thing to go is fat, right? The second thing to go is muscle. But on the reverse end, once you start to eat, the first thing to come back is muscle, and the last thing to come back is fat.
So at present, 66% of Americans older than the age of 20 are overweight. Approximately 34% of Americans are obese, which equates to approximately 72 million Americans.
Jesus Christ.
Just let that number fathom in your head, like 72 million Americans. The same trend is for children ages 2 to 19. As many as 9 million young people are obese or are overweight. And experts say that nearly 1 in 4 kids will be overweight by the year 2015. We're now in 2019, so imagine where we're at now.
Jesus, man.
So yeah, that's deep, man.
These numbers are crazy. I mean, you see it all the time, and we're just thinking it's okay that our kids are freaking 100 pounds at 8 years old. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that covers the last fact. Now let's get into this topic. This might make a few people angry. This might ruffle some feathers, but it's got to be discussed. Does PC, by political correctness, does PC culture belong in health and wellness, in the health and wellness conversation?
Yeah.
What I mean by that, there's this whole fat acceptance movement. Now I'm gonna say it again. As a personal trainer and as someone that promotes health and wellness, I will never ever promote behavior that is going to allow someone to continue living an unhealthy lifestyle. So that means if someone's overweight or obese, I'm not going to lie to them. And it's not to ever make someone feel bad. It's never to make someone feel less of themselves. If anything, my purpose is to do the exact opposite. But I'm not going to create this safety net where you think where you're at it's okay. It's not. If you are obese, especially if you're obese, if you're overweight, depending on your BMI, depending on your size, depending on your physical activity, you can get away with it. You could survive that way. But if you're obese, I am sorry, I cannot condone that. I can't condone that behavior, man. And you have to change, especially if you're a parent. Because then what happens is you're passing that down to the next generation. You're passing those bad traits, those bad behaviors, those bad eating habits. Right. And come on, man. Right. It's just not.
And you know what? And you know what I think a lot too. Like when people get to a certain size, they're like, "Yo, it's irreversible." It's irreversible. I mean, you see all these stories, but you know what? At the end of the day, people, you can take note, take your life into your own hands and just do it. And like our slogan is fuck your insecurities, man. Any insecurities, who gives a fuck? God loves you. You love yourself, and that's all that matters.
That's right.
So get in there. We want you to live longer. We want you to be your best you.
All right. So should we be
okaying bigness? You know?
Yeah, like,
or be like, yo, nah, get your fat ass in here, let's go work out. Not for real.
Yeah.
You know, cut the bullshit. You know, if you know you're big, you want to lose weight, you want to feel good, you want to jump out of bed, you got to shed the pounds. You got to change the diet. You got to fucking get over that mental barrier and stop fucking bullshitting yourself. Stop it.
And you got to change the habits.
Change the habits.
Change the habits.
All right? Change the mentality first.
There's a few things that people can do.
In talking or...
like easy tips. Like
easy tip.
Cut down the amount of soda you're taking in, man.
Cut the soda down.
That's the first thing. Maybe like some people, what they do is like they won't take any like soda or any sweet drinks throughout the day, and then they'll just have maybe
one with their dinner or something.
Yeah, with their dinner. So
moderation.
That's one thing.
Moderation. It always comes down to moderation.
Another one is to download applications like MyFitnessPal, where you can actually count your carbs and
your calorie
protein,
intake for the day,
calories, and figure out how much you need to be taking in order to achieve whatever goal that you have. Those are just a few. That's just a few of the things that I would recommend. Yeah.
For me, I would say go watch some documentaries on slaughterhouses in America. No, I'm dead ass. I'm dead fucking serious. Do that, because then it kind of wakes you up that like, yo, this is what the fuck I'm eating, right?
Yeah.
Think about where we were at maybe 200 years ago, right? How people ate then.
Like the American Revolution?
That type of era, right? I mean, the only people that were fat were gluttonous fucking Europeans, bro. And that culture has spilled over, unfortunately, into American society, and that's where we're at now.
Yeah. All right, so
it's a very touchy subject.
I'm
getting angry.
I'm
getting angry.
Here's one that I think we both could touch on, especially like from past situation. I'm gonna jump to number 7. Does settling down make it easy to become overweight? Like when you settle down with someone, you're in a relationship. I see it all the time, especially even with people that I know. You know, you might get married.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, we're going to dinner all the time. You're laying around,
you see the person like 2-3 years later after settling down, and they gain like 60-70 pounds, and you know they're living life, but then like do you think that's having an effect, or will eventually have an effect on the relationship?
Definitely think, you know, having a busy life definitely can attribute to you not getting to the gym as much, or you making more excuses of why you can't get to the gym. But yeah, I definitely think relationships have a lot to do with people gaining weight. We see it all the time, guys. Come on, your buddy gets in a relationship, next thing you know he's 30 pounds heavier. We're like, oh, you know, he's married now, you know, we accept that. But at the end of the day, one partner has to push the other partner to get their asses in the gym. But then also another thing comes up to mind, like if I lived in LA, we probably would think about fitness a lot more. We're here in New York, where 9 months out of the year, basically 8 to 9 months out of the year is winter, right? We're barely getting any sun, the vitamin D is low, we get what is called winter depression, right? And naturally the body wants to put on calories and hibernate for the winter. I've done it mad times where, you know, I've been working out all summer. As soon as the winter hits, I'm not in the gym at all. I'm fucking eating. By March now, I want to come back out and work out and shit. But, you know, that's a cycle that we have to break.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the relationships, like, I think what happens a lot of times is, one, the time you probably would have been going to the gym if you were single, and now you're spending with that person. Another one is, obviously, you get too comfortable.
Just getting comfortable.
You're getting too comfortable. But then I think where the problems come is like when you met this person, they looked a certain way. Maybe sex was a certain way because they were that way, or they had that energy level, and now, you know, 5-6 years down the line,
you're both big.
You don't have the same energy,
same drive.
You're not trying as hard. You don't have the same drive.
Go take a walk with your partner. You'll be surprised. Every day, take a half an hour walk with your partner. 15 minutes in that direction, 15 minutes back, a half an hour can change both of you guys' life. One
thing that I would recommend for people to use, especially if they're trying to lose weight, is the glycemic index. Is definitely a good way to
Make sure you put that here.
Yeah.
Glycemic index.
Yeah, glycemic index is a great way to figure out what effect each food that you're taking is going to have, and how fast or how slow it's going to be burned to use as energy. So that's one thing that I would definitely recommend that people struggling with weight loss or weight gain uses the glycemic index.
If we want to discuss food, that'll be a whole another Fitz Ass episode. If you guys want to see that, leave a comment down below, and we'll have an episode where we'll discuss our difference in diets. Because Gezus V is on one type of, I don't want to say diet, because diet means there's an end to it. He's a certain lifestyle eater, and I'm a certain lifestyle eater as well.
Well, I think this was a successful first FitSense podcast style discussion.
Podcast style, yeah, man.
Let us know what you guys think.
I liked it. You had a good time?
Yeah,
I had a good time.
Yeah. And I think we provided some good information.
I think we did.
So
I think we had some good discussion here. But real talk, people, fuck your insecurities, man.
Yeah, access the information that's out there. If you guys need any, any tips, you're more than welcome to hit me on Instagram or leave a comment below.
You can hit me on my Gmail, Modern Solution Production, no S's, Modern Solution Production @gmail.com. If you want any advice, hit us in the comments. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go back and watch all the videos.
Put in a lot of work with these videos.
Yeah, bro. Make sure you comment below. We want to hear from you.
All right, so I think that about wraps it up. As always,
fuck your insecurities.
Peace.